Hey, good morning, evening, one of those. Yeah, it's been one of those kind of days for me. Anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome Ramia and Zobrenderg. Mo Savage, welcome. Tim, welcome. Hope y'all are well. I am heckin' ready to get this stream going. Because, like, after last night, I am really wanting to know where the MSQ goes now. Like, the story just kind of blew my mind. And then, like, the dungeon we did with Ryu being a heckin' god tier tank. You can't, let me share the link to that, oh my gosh. Share the link to those highlights that I got last night, because I was like, oh my god. Let's see, where's my video producer? There it is. So I'm still just kind of in awe on like what freaking happened last night in that dungeon. Ramya, you are certainly welcome to. I keep all my snacks in there, so just promise not to eat them all. Snacks and beer, that's where they live. Anyone have any food? I just had like a couple of like little tiny mini burritos before I went live, so bouncy tail. Yes. Hope you're ready for this story, Ahty. I'm probably not ready. I have a feeling I already got it spoiled, but we'll see. We'll see what I think it is. Just a tiny bit of housekeeping. Thank you so much for your follow, Confuzzderg and Mrs. Dragonlord. I really appreciate it. And Mo Savage, thank you so much for the resub. 3 months in a row. It's just heckin' amazing. Thank you so much. But yeah, let's get this party started. Heck. Oh, and looks like Cairo already has a party invite there for me, waiting. All right. Of course, I'll join that party. Duh. Hiya, Gabe. Welcome. So to catch some folks up a little bit on what was going on last night. Basically, we were just kind of all over the place, trying to figure out why like fish people were stealing food and stuff, and then we ended up back at the Orchestrium where we were, you know, greeted with the Warrior of Light again, and then we kind of got word that there was a Sin Eater out in the wilderness somewhere, so we beat the Warrior of Light to it and took care of it, where he showed up just moments later, and when we were chatting, caught him in a little lie, and we figured out that Ardbert is definitely not Ardbert. Ardbert is actually Elidibus, and we're trying to figure out why Elidibus is doing all of this, promoting everyone being a Warrior of Light, so that's where we're at. Hiya, Fingies, welcome. So this is an instance of what I was talking about, Ahty. Talk to Alize and the others before Alpha now. Okay. And Fingies, thank you so much for your lurk. You're amazing. Alright, so let's do that. And there he goes again. Though I don't suppose he would have given us an honest answer about his history had he stayed. Referring to Elidibus, by the way. Though I like not what it portendeth. Having been treated to so unambiguous a demonstration, I cannot well conclude aught, but that star showers are indeed instrumental in awakening the echo. Yet we need not attribute such credence to all that Elidibus hath claimed, that he too seeketh the star's salvation for one. I want that hat. This one? He looks like, honestly, he looks like the captain from Space Battleship Yamato. That gruff captain guy in the chair. I forget what his name is, but Space Battleship Yamato. Unsettling though this is, I'm certain our friends in the guard will use the echo well. Or with good intentions, at least. It did remind me of it, Amarat. I mean, all the fear and the sadness. Okay. The more Elidibus reveals, the less I understand. But that he has made a fine mess of things is plain. Yep, and then that's hence the stream title. Left to ponder Elidibus's words, there are more questions than answers. He is gone, then? I've managed to persuade a number of our would-be deserters to reconsider, or at least delay, their departure. But as many are deaf to my entreaties. Young Thaler and Vonard among them, I am sorry to say, they have quit the guard. Nevertheless, I wish them well. Whatever Elidibus's plans for them might be, the pair have only ever had the best of intentions. One can hardly blame them for thinking themselves heroes elect, not after having been blessed with the echo, and it's not as if they haven't shown the requisite spirit. I quite agree, though the impetus for their sudden departure may have been words falsely spoken. The men and women in whose footsteps they would follow are heroes in truth, warriors of light. Ardbert, yourself, most of all. And so I would ask a favor of you. Speak with them ere they embark on their journey, and furnish them with what wisdom you can. They've set off for the Amaro launch, but you should still be able to catch them if you leave now. Worth the effort, I'd say. If I recall correctly, Elder Seedseer took the time to usher you out into the wide world many moons ago. I think that comparison rather flatters Thaler and Vonard, but the point still stands. They would doubtless be greatly encouraged were the warrior of darkness herself to see them off. If thou art willing, I prithee go. Thou mayest safely leave the task of unfolding that which did transpire in Amnesis to us. Bonk! Oh boy. Hiya, Mr. Fox. Today's going actually pretty well. I'm a little tuckered out. I was doing a lot of fixing stuff and whatnot, which has been kind of like my thing to do for the past month on my after working on my free time. But it is what it is. I took a little nap earlier, which I'm kind of raring to go now. And right now we're making our way to the Amaro lunch. Same here, but I only had to sneeze at Spectrum to get my internet back today. Oh, interesting. So you kind of blew on the modem a little bit and it worked? I wish that worked for me sometimes. There they are. You again? I mean, it's you, milady. Sorry, it's been a funny old day. You can be sure we'll take those words to heart. I still can't believe it. You coming all this way just to speak to us. I swear we won't let you down. So long as it helps someone, we'll do what needs doing out there, no matter how small. And when larger threats loom, we'll be ready to face them. You see if we aren't. No, I had to pay the ungodly expensive bill. What? For Spectrum? What did they forget to take take money, and then they got wise of it and then tried to shovel a bunch of extra months of payments down your throat all at once? Just before Christmas, just as they should add extra time to do so. Yeah. The path shall ever be revealed to those who are true of heart. We'll be off then. Farewell, Warrior of Darkness, and thank you. They're not cheap in this state, but it's their troll method to get back at the state is to punish their customers. I don't get it. Why? It sounds like a very Comcast thing to do, if I'm being honest. Alright, let's see. Where am I off now? Speak with the Crystal Exarch. Alright, so back to the main part of the Crystarium. I see you, Cairo. That's actually some heckin' cool armor, too. Oh, is he back in his office? It certainly looks like it. Beats me, but I and many others are getting tired of it. But they're the only other option besides Frontier, which is still slow PPPoE. I had Frontier for a while, but apparently they got sold to Ziply. Or they're now Ziply Fiber in my area. And it's been pretty decent. Thank you for making the effort. I'm certain your words will be a boon to them. While you were away, the others told me of your investigation. We have yet to discuss how to proceed, however. While your findings in Amnesis Enidir do raise important questions as to the identity of our adversary, we are no closer to discerning his design, nor do I know of any other potential avenue of investigation. For which reason, we must needs trust to Y'shtola's ingenuity, and wait for her efforts to revive the Ancient's device to bear fruit. What if I were to attempt to follow the emissary? Elusive as he is, his plan compels him to court public attention. He shouldn't be impossible to find. Especially for one of your experience, it does seem worth the attempt. Then I'll come with you. Safety in numbers. In combat, perhaps, but where stealth is required, the opposite is true. Happily, I don't plan on getting myself caught, so you've no need to worry. Nor do I intend to vanish for moons on end. We still have the empty to attend to, don't we? Alright. Then I look forward to your return. Then it sounds like the rest of us should avoid doing anything which might prompt Elidibus to look too closely at our movements, insofar as it's possible. I recommend we limit our activities to the Crystarium. Speaking of which, Exarch, might I ask if you've made any progress with the spirit vessel? Of course. We're presently studying the principles underpinning memory transference and, I believe, nearing the requisite level of understanding. The only fiber service they offer is 40 down, 2 up for Frontier, and they call it good enough for gaming. Well, yeah. ISPs will always be a little out of touch with that. And by a little, I mean a lot. And they called it a mine. Why, my brother Balin... Less hearteningly, practical trials of transference methods suited for use with the vessel have yet to yield satisfactory results, to put it mildly. But there are still many promising possibilities we have yet to test. Indeed, though it may take some time yet, we are well on our way to a solution. And I shall not rest until one is found. Though we are all grateful for thine unstinting efforts, you needst not labor to the exclusion of all else. If I would serve to enlighten thy burden, however little, I should gladly offer mine assistance. Quite aye. For my part, will do what I can to ensure that the Crystarium continues to run smoothly, in spite of recent disruptions. Then perhaps I could help. There must be something I can do, even if it's just guard duty. Thank you, all of you. I shall breathe easier for your assistance. Of course, on the evidence of the recent past, it will not be long before some new crisis arrives to throw our plans into disarray, at which time your services will be in particular demand. That being the case, perhaps you might take this opportunity to retire to your suite at the Pendants? Every time I retire to my suite at the Pendants, something happens. Oh wow, that's rain. Ooh, that's new. They changed the way the Aetherites worked a little bit. Oh god, I forgot where my apartment is. Alright. Let's try this again. And now, if only you knew where you were going. Yeah, this is true. Queen Blob, thank you. pleasure as always, Mr. Squeegee. I am relieved to see you were unharmed in the earlier commotion, though, if I may, you do look somewhat wary. I presume you will be retiring to your suite? Yes. Very good. Do let me know if there's anything you require. Interesting. Mr. Squeegee? It's Glenard, from the Wandering Stairs. I apologize for calling so late. A friend of yours was asking after you. You may remember them from that business with the cardinal virtues? Oh, wow. What charming combinations. Interesting. I had come to dine at the Wandering Stairs, you see, when I spied a considerable gathering of locals. Then the sky caught fire, and, well... You must know what it all means. Anything you'd care to share with a friend? So depending on what role quests you have completed, you have different options of who to talk to at your door here. Interesting. And everyone has unique dialogue. Interesting. That is alarming, to say the least. It's all well and good that others have come to appreciate the Warriors of Light, but we cannot allow this charlatan to exploit their legacy, so... Yes, why not? We shall reform the indomitable duo that is Reek and Ahty and put an end to his shenanigans. That is very kind of you. Yes, I know. No need to say it. You've no intention of involving me. I'm stupid, but I'm also not naive. You're the better hunter, and the better person besides. I'm reminded of Renderay, though that's hardly a surprise, is it? For her sake, for all of theirs, show this pretender what it truly means to be a hero. That's ominous. Right there. Oh, pets. Meanwhile, in the Crystal Tower's umbilicus.
Foiled again.
Is that a new Mo? Yes, it is.
If I cannot imbue the infernal thing with my power via magical means, we may need to devise a way to infuse the vessel with my blood after all.
Art thou unwell?
Or perhaps a brief respite? It wouldn't do to overtax yourself.
I'm fine. And given to stubbornness, I'm afraid. Especially when I have a stake in the outcome. The dream again.
Meanwhile, in the source.
A recurring dream. They do so fascinate me. Might I trouble you for the details?
I recognize that voice. He's dead.
I have always dreamed of it. Fire falling from the heavens, and the city, nay, the whole world ablaze.
Indeed. Could Emmett Selk have found a way? Precious few possess memories of the final days.
So he's an Ascian now too? What the hell?
The final days.
Why, yes. Admittedly, my knowledge is mostly second-hand, but if you are interested, I will gladly tell you the tale. The tale of the world's end.
I was so happy when he died, and then that literally ruined my night. What the hell? Ah, Mistress Squeegee. Will you be venturing forth today? Do be sure to take care if so. Though they say the star shower was harmless, one can never be too careful. But I concede it is not for me to tell the Warrior of Darkness how to look after herself. Old habits, you understand. Oh, don't worry, it'll get a whole lot more complicated before it gets resolved. I guess that's something to look forward to. Ah, Ahty! How very opportune! Greetings, my friend. Do you perchance have a moment to spare? Wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to thank you, you see, for revealing to us the truth of the Warriors of Light. After all these years, your tales set the record straight. Finally, the people see them as the great heroes they were. Or the great hero he is, in the case of Ardbert. You too weren't surprised to see him, I think? Yeah. At the time, I was not certain what to make of it all, but I could see the effect his words had on those around me. And then the stars rained down from the sky, and, well, you know the rest. When the commotion died down, you were nowhere to be seen, but I was determined to express my gratitude, and so here I am. Thank you, Ahty, for giving voice to the truth, and restoring the Warriors of Light to their rightful place in history. Should you, perhaps, wish to have your account of these matters committed to writing, I would be more than willing to serve as your scribe. Indeed, if there is anything I can do to help, anything at all, you need only say the word. What can you tell me about the Warriors of Light? I beg your pardon? You wish to ask me about the Warriors of Light? Forgive me, but I dare say you already know more about them than any living soul, save for Ardbert himself, of course. Unless you refer to the Warriors of Light more broadly? If so, I may yet be able to assist you in some small way. Excellent. I shall return to the cabinet at once and look up the relevant texts. Pray join me at your earliest convenience. No rest for the righteous, it would seem. Do not let me keep you, miss. I bid you a pleasant day. Oof. Yeah, I really like this. That new thingy. I've been tempted to try out Final Fantasy XIV, though I heard that the free trial is unavailable or something. Yeah, oh. Hiya, Rumpley. Welcome. Seems there's a Pokemon in chat. Yeah, so Zobrin, what's going on right now is, you know, we've been having ongoing issues with really long queues. You know, because, well, I mean, Square Enix in its current state right now isn't really prepared for the amount of players that are trying to connect right now. So basically what they did is they halted new game sales for new players and stuff like that temporarily. They're setting up like new worlds and new data centers. But the thing is, like, you know, due to COVID-19, all of that has been really slow because there's still a rather severe semiconductor shortage. So once all that's ironed out, things will be better. Things are already slightly better, but, you know, you still have to get in the queue 3 hours before you want to play if you're on Primal. Hiya, Hyena Bangs. Yeah, I mean, Zobrin, it's really a bummer because my friend Jaster wants to play. You know, a couple of my coworkers and I got together and bought him literally all of the expansions in one go. But he still needs the starter edition, and he can't get the starter edition because of everything that's going on right now. Excalibur. We are on Excalibur. Previously, they had made it so trial accounts are limited to logging in during mornings and nights, while paid customers got full access, yeah. Thank you so much for the lyric, Rumpley. Supposedly, they're rolling out that free players cannot queue. They can only log in when there's no queue. Oh, interesting. Hyperion. Ah, cool. I hope we get to play together at some point. That would be kind of awesome. Also, I was thinking that, like, you know, any players that were, you know, kind of part of my community, or, like, you know, part of, like, you know, well, any friends, really, that needed help with a duty, if we were in Final Fantasy, we could kind of drop what we were doing and go help with a duty or two. I know lots of folks have kind of always dropped what they're doing to party up with me to help me through duties, so I was kind of thinking, why not reciprocate that? I think I made a Hrothgar on there and bumped into you. Oh, I think so. Other concern I have is that the storyline may be too complex for my brain to handle. I don't think so, Zobrin. I mean, like, it seems complicated, but, like, you know, if you start at the very beginning and follow it from the very beginning, it's not complex at all. It's very intriguing, and there's all kinds of little intricacies involved and stuff like that, and interwoven storylines, and it's really interesting how it all comes together. I'm following the story as well. Yeah. Heck. Alright, so I have to speak with Morin. I'm at the Cabinet of Curiosity. So Ryu, the side content I'm gonna get to later. But the important change here is that starting with the Endwalker, I'm going to be doing all of the side quests as well. So we're going to do absolutely everything we can possibly do in Endwalker. Ah, Ahty, excellent timing. I have but this moment finished gathering the materials for our lesson. As a great many works make reference to the Warriors of Light, I shall, with your permission, focus only upon the details that seem most relevant. The Warriors of Light, you say? Forgive us, but we couldn't help overhearing. We've been out keeping watch over the Crystarium, but it appears to be business as usual. That's kind of what I've been doing. I've done a few side quest things, but mostly sticking to MSQ while I level. Yeah. So I thought I'd spend some time brushing up my knowledge of familiars, and Alphino volunteered to help. I actually came on a different errand, but I'd be interested in hearing about the Warriors of Light as well. May I join you? Of course. The more the merrier. If you would care to find a table below, I shall be down with the books in a moment. Were one to pore over the annals of Vrandic history, one would note the comparatively frequent recurrence of individuals hailed as Warriors of Light. Ardbert and his comrades required no introduction, but many others bore the epithet long before them. To name but a few, there was Tolthawil, legendary first king of Lakeland, Rodford and Solard, the fabled Drawn and Galgant duo of Verbert, and no list of Vrandic heroes would be complete without the Archmage Tiuna of Ronka. In older texts, she too was called a Warrior of Light. It did surprise me how ready people were to forget the negative associations of the title, but it makes sense if it's been around for centuries. Verily, in ages past, it was simply a synonym for hero. In the wake of the flood, however, light came to be regarded with fear, the title used not to exalt, but to revile. A far cry from its beginnings. This, my friends, is Norvrant's oldest epic, the original tale of the struggle between good and evil. In a time when all lay shrouded in darkness, a prophesied hero rose to deliver the world from its doom. Fighting in the name of the light, the hero styled himself its foot soldier, and thus did he become to be known as the Warrior of Light. Curiously, in the centuries that followed, other heroes appeared who claimed the selfsame epithet, despite sharing no discernible connection with their predecessors. Oh yeah, I recognize that art style. And in time, Warrior of Light came to be a name accorded to all men and women of uncommon skill and valor. Well, the plot thickens. As you know, the title Warrior of Light is also used in the source. though the manners in which individuals have earned it are many and varied. Heroes have been honored thus since antiquity. Welcome, Paula. Thank you so much for the lurk. Heckin' good bean. Nor does the custom show any sign of dying out, as you can well attest. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? It surely can't be a coincidence. Indeed not. Let us imagine a man who has awakened to the echo and is able to hear Heidelin's voice. As she styles him, so too does he style himself, a warrior of light. Of course, being blessed with the echo does not in itself make one a hero, and conversely, there will have been no few heroes that were not blessed with it. But such distinctions are immaterial to the masses, and over time they came to use the title Warrior of Light and the word hero interchangeably. Sounds about right. It would be interesting to see if the theory holds true in the other worlds, if crossing the rift were that easy. Heidelin did call me a warrior of light. Your warrior of light looks so hurt if you choose the third option. She did? I've never heard her voice myself. But I can feel her presence, perhaps through Minfilia. At any rate, assuming all of this is true, and there's a common thread behind the epithet, I doubt the Ascians will have been amused. To have the world at large associate light, and by extension Heidelin, with good, must have added insult to injury. Ahem. While this discussion is undeniably fascinating, I wonder, should I be privy to it? Mayhap it would be better if I excused myself? Oh, no need for that, my friend. Pray accept our apologies. Your lesson on the Warriors of Light has given us much to ponder. Oh, did someone say Warriors of Light? What? Aw, it's a tiny Makoti. Riki Tio, are you alright? Ah, my precious tomes. Did I say you must take care in the cabinet? She's so cute. Oh my gosh. You too, Arkeel? Earwell? We're sorry, Master Morin. Aren't you? The Warrior of Darkness? My name's Riki Tio, and I want to help everyone. Please, tell me what I have to do to be a hero, to be a warrior of light. Alrighty, Ryu. A tiny Mikote. Yes, you definitely can't say no to a face like that. So I want to be a warrior of light, but not one that fights with a sword and all that. No, I want to be the kind that fights with potions and heals people, an apothecary. And I'm going to help everyone in the Crystarium. No, in all of Norvrant. When I told Arkeel and Earwell this, they said that the cabinet should have lots of tomes about potions. But this place is so big, and we don't have the faintest idea where to begin searching. At this rate, I'm not going to get anywhere. If one knew where to look, one should indeed be able to find treatises on potions here. Even so, I fear they may prove a little difficult for one so young, but Esteemed warrior of darkness, perhaps you might accompany young Rikitio to Spadrix? Rather than through tomes, I believe she stands to learn more by observing the Cheergens at their work. It sounds like a plan. It seems we've finished here, so we'll come with you. Last one to Spadrix is a rotten egg. Ha! I'll have you know I'm really fast. You're going to be the rotten egg. This threw so many people off, thinking Apothecary or Chemist was going to be the new class in Endwalker. I mean, it's not a far cry. I mean, there is Sage. Yep, they thought, like, literally hucking potions at players or something. That would actually be pretty funny, actually. Well now, to what do I owe the pleasure of so many bright-eyed visitors? Yeet! Is that the way of it, sweetie? You wish to learn about medicine? That's right, I want to become a warrior of light who uses potions to help people all over the world. Well, that's a very noble endeavor, and you aren't alone in it. No few at our infirmary yearn to venture forth as warriors of light. But ultimately, they have all decided not to pursue that dream. Huh? Why? Because the people here need them too, sweetie. The guards who place themselves in harm's way to keep us safe, the artisans who toil tirelessly that we might sustain our way of life, and younglings like you who are the future of the Crystarium. Welcome back, Ryu! They couldn't simply abandon them, you see, and so, difficult though it was, they made the decision to remain. Then, does this mean my dream isn't any good? Oh, sweetie, yours is a wonderful dream, and it would be my pleasure to help you to pursue it. If we all work hard, the day will come when our Cheergens may set forth to aid folk in every corner of the realm. As we strive towards that day, I hope that we can rely upon you as well. Though, I must warn you, ours is not an easy path. No, you must work very, very hard. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'll become the best apothecary ever, just you watch. Hehe, that's the spirit. Without further ado, then, may I entrust you with a task? I have placed an order at Sweet Sieve for a potion ingredient, and I would like you to go and collect it. Oh, an ingredient! Leave it to me, miss. has such an abundance of energy, though I can't help wonder if she'll be alright by herself. My apologies, but would you mind accompanying her? When you arrive at Sweet Sieve, speak with a woman named Gracine, and she will point you in the right direction. I shall join you. As the one who suggested this course to Ricky Tio, I would assist in her first steps. And what about the two of you? Are you coming along also? Well, we do want to become warriors of light, just not the same kind as Riki. So we'll wait for you here, Warrior of Darkness. When you return, please teach us how to fight. In that case, Reen and I shall keep them company and take the opportunity to ask about their aspirations. To the markets. There we go. Did I go the wrong way? Oh, I think I'm supposed to go outside, aren't I? Or no, I get it. Of course there's Cairo, just like kind of casually walking up. If it isn't the Warrior of Darkness herself, may I assume you're with Master Alphino? Right, lest you wonder, Chesemil's order is for grapes. As busy as we have been of late, however, I regret to say we didn't have the time to harvest them. So it was with apologies that I asked Master Alphino and his young companion to help themselves to the fruits on the vines. Perhaps you could lend them a hand? It's the undersized grapes you'll want to pick. They're too small for normal consumption, but suitable for making wine and medicine. Oop, there's Rickettio and Alphino. You have to pat the grapes before you can pick them. You have to reassure them that they're going to be okay. See, pat, 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 pat. See what they've got to say. I've harvested all the undersized grapes I could find here. How goes the picking effort? Oh, and here's Ricky Tio. Oh, you're here too? We're picking little grapes. It's quite fun. Wow, you've picked this many already? Amazing! Oh, she's so cute. I dare say we have enough between us. Shall we take them back to Chesamil? Look at her tiny tail, oh my god. Heh, I can't wait to see what she's going to do with them. Tell me, Riki, what made you want to become an apothecary and warrior of light? Why, well... a while ago I fell sick. Really sick. My body was burning up and I felt so weak I couldn't even get out of bed. When a traveling apothecary came and gave me a potion to drink, it was the foulest thing I'd ever tasted, but it made me get better. She was so brave, the apothecary, I mean. She went around taking care of people when it was dangerous, and I decided I wanted to help people just like her. So I started brewing potions out of grass and giving them to my friends. But I didn't really know what I was doing, or if there was anything else I could do. Then not long ago, a neighbor told me he was going to become a warrior of light and go traveling the world helping people. And I thought, that's the same as what I want to do. I see. Out of curiosity, what did your neighbor do in the end? Thaler? I haven't seen him for a bit, so he must already be out there looking for people to help. Thaler, one of the guards awakened by the star shower. Thank you for sharing your tale with us, Riki Tio. I myself took inspiration from one not unlike your traveling apothecary, and I hope her good example will spur you on to realize your dreams. But it will not be done in a day. Such lofty goals are reached through hard work and persistence, through countless little acts of heroism like delivering the grapes to Chesamil. It would seem I have been laboring under a misapprehension. I had convinced myself that it was Elidibus who had sowed the desire to become warriors of light within the hearts of the people. But I see now that the impulse to aid their fellow man abided within them from the first. Elidibus did no more than give it a name. And as he so kindly proclaimed, we must return to our own world ere long. With the Exarch laboring tirelessly, I doubt not but that a way will be found. Yet I believe I speak for us all when I say I cannot leave in good conscience, not until we have dealt with Elidibus. This is no longer a strange and distant land, after all. Norvrent has become as a home to us, and her people our own. Let us return to Spadrix. It wouldn't do to keep your admirers waiting. My thanks for your kind help, sweetie. We now have all the ingredients we require. From the grapes we shall make a vinegar, to which we will add elf grass and a few other herbs to produce an invigorating syrup. Though it's unspeakably sour, it does wonders for the constitution. As part of her studies, I may just have to give Ricky Tio a little taste. Hee hee. God, even the melody of Tomorrow and Tomorrow in the background here stirs up all kinds of feelings. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of the OST to this game at work. And it just... I've had to kind of stop doing it because it erodes my productivity because I just sit there just thinking about it. Feelings you will understand when you finish this patch, I think. Yeah. Warrior of Darkness, if you've finished helping Riki, would you show us some fighting? Not play fighting, but honest to God's fighting? We already have some enemies that you can deal with. Vampire bats. The guards say they've become a pest around the Crystarium as of late. We've tried to sneak outside to hunt them, but the guards caught us and sent us home. But they shouldn't mind if you were doing the fighting and we were just watching. All aboard the Fields train, there are no breaks. The children told us as much while you were away. And in preparation, Chesamil kindly furnished us with some lures for the bats. While the creatures won't give you any sport, bear in mind that the younglings will be watching. That's to say, put on a good show, yes? Karoja, thank you so much for the raid. Heck. What a good bean. Thank you so much. And welcome, raiders. How is Astral Chain tonight? Oh, actually, one thing I did forget to do too. I really like that animated emote of yours, the little stars. That's awesome. We spent the last 30 minutes of the stream doing a car-moving minigame to free the road. Interesting. That seems like actually a pretty long game. Jeez. Like, you've been playing that for a while. And also me failing at using motion controls to walk without tipping over boxes. Oh yeah. Yikes. What is Ryu doing? Right, let's head outside at once. Everyone follow me. Alize, wait, just a... Come on then, children. Well, you say Tetris is easy. Tetris is easy until it's not. At the Exarch Gate. Okay. Boxes are hard because it wants me to use 2 different paddles for motion control and I have 0 spatial awareness. Here they are. Everyone's here? Good, let's get started, shall we? As their name suggests, vampire bats feed on blood, and originally being nocturnal creatures, they've grown more active with the return of night and become a nuisance. To draw them out, we'll use Chesameel's lures, which work by exploiting their heat-seeking behavior. The bats are wont to nest under the leaves, so you are like to attract more if you place the lures near buildings. I have here 6 lures, 3 each for you and me. As proof of a successful kill, I want you to gather up their fangs. Whoever collects the most is the winner. Oh, you're hunting too? Yes. Well, there's nothing like friendly competition to bring out the best in Ahty. Anyway, while we hunt the bats, the 2 of you are to stay with Reen. She's really strong too and will keep you safe. Without further ado, then let's let the contest begin. Alright. I don't want to drive around to all these places. I think I'm gonna tromp. Alright, Grandpa, ice cream time and gonna reheat my lunch. Alrighty, Kroja. Yeah, all of these places are really close together. It would just seem, I don't know. Like driving to a dungeon just seems to make sense, but all these places super close together. Hello, I'm new here. I'm working on finishing Endwalker and M Fox, so wanted to enjoy the vibes. Well, Tozu, welcome. Heckin' welcome. I haven't started Endwalker just yet, so no spoilers, please. But welcome all the same. Let's see. Oh, it's bat time. Ahty already knows about Raban and Estinian oil wrestling. I spoiled that for him. Yeah, Kuroja, I'm still not over that. Can't be back for real now. What shard are you on? I believe my shard is Excalibur. Oh, Exodus, cool. So I bet your queues are as interesting as mine are. I main a paladin. Oh, cool. I haven't played one of those just yet. This is actually my first time through, and I'm doing the Bardy thing. Ah, heck. There we go. Bard was treated nicely with the latest patch. Enjoy the class. I am very much enjoying it so far. Heck, I love this game so much. Alright, and then do the next one down here. Tozu, thank you so much for the follow. Heck. Thank you. I'm kind of hoping that that all this queue business gets solved pretty soon. Because right now I've kind of had to limit the times I can play to the weekends, because those are the times I can get into the queue super early. Oop, there's 2 of them this time. Tozu, thank you so much for the... Holy heck, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Heckin' good bean. Thank you so much. That really helps out a lot. Alright, back to the Quistarium. Yeah. So, like, it would... The thing is, Tozu, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, by the way. If I'm not, totally feel free to correct me. I logged in this morning at 10 a.m. CST and had 50 people in queue, yeah. So, the way that I've had to do it is, like, yesterday and today, I had to get in the queue at about 3 p.m. PST, and even then I was almost, like, 3,000 in the queue. But by the time 6 o'clock rolled around and I was about ready to go live, I had already been in the game for like 20 or 30 minutes. So it seems to be okay in that regard. And I kind of have a plan for during the week also. So I was thinking, right before I leave work, it takes me an hour or so to get home from work. I was thinking about using a remote desktop to get into my computer, to get in the queue before I leave work. And then I'm sitting in the queue waiting to get into the game on my way home. So by the time my stream goes live, I'm already home and already in the queue and almost about ready to get in. So it might work. I'm going to test that out on Tuesday. I created my name so you cannot pronounce it incorrectly. Okay. Playing EverQuest in 2001, I made sure never to make that mistake again. Okay. You know, you could just give me a spare key to your house and rights to anything in the fridge, and I could log in and even level you while you're at work. You'd be really disappointed as to what's in my fridge. You'd be really disappointed. You type /playtime. I could, actually. Well thought, Ahty. The children were hanging on your every move. As was I, to be honest. Though I know the tally. May I see your fangs for good measure? Oh no, there are NFTs in your fridge? No. Okay, maybe not that disappointed. Apologies for the wait. My fangs, not a bad haul, even if I do say so myself. I'll pop it in chat in a second, Tozu. 5, 6, 7... 7 fangs from Alize. Which means the victory goes to Alize. Ahty collected 4. Ha! I did it! I bested Ahty. It's fine if she wins. It's okay. In another God's damned life, you didn't even try, did you? And there I was taking it seriously. Spare me your pity next time, will you? Oh, come on, Alize. Stream keeps cutting out for me. In and out. That's weird. Let me check something real quick. I was uploading some of my past VODs to YouTube earlier. Let me see if that's still the case. Nope, they're all uploaded. That's interesting. Maybe on auto. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm broadcasting in 1080p 60. Maybe manually setting it to that would be the best thing, or even like maybe just refreshing the page. Okay. Interesting. So, children, you've now seen the Warrior of Darkness in action. What are your impressions? She's incredible, miss. The bats were down before they knew it. Our guards are strong, but the Warrior of Darkness is much, much stronger. We want to be just like her. Good. If you're looking for an example to emulate, you may as well pick the best. I want you to remember how you felt when you watched Ahty, and train hard. Keep at it for long enough and you'll be strong too. By the way, I approve of the name you chose for the channel points. I had actually a lot of ideas, and I asked a lot of friends about that, and so I had tons of choices, but I always circled back to butt coins. And one of our viewers, who's actually part of Kuroja's community as well, Senseless Musing, illustrated our beloved butt coin. Well, we were there listening with everyone when Ardbert appeared, but I've wanted to be strong since before I came to the Crystarium. The Sin Eaters killed my father and my sister, see, and I promised myself I'd learn how to protect people one day. Like Ardbert said, this is our home. We're the ones who have to protect it. We're the ones who have to rise up as new warriors of light. What about you, Arcule? Me? To be honest, I'm still not sure what I want to do. But if my friends were in trouble, I know that I would want to help them. And I want to go on adventures with them, see the world together. That's a wonderful goal. You really think so? It's hard to explain, but it's something I felt when I saw the star shower the other day. I felt as though there was something I'd lost, and that I had to go out there and find it. Well, for the both of you, there's nothing for it but to train. When we return to the city, I'll teach you some exercises you can do by yourselves. Thanks for showing us your fighting skills, Warrior of Darkness. We'll never forget it. I understand how Arcule feels. The star shower didn't awaken me to Heidelin's voice, but the vision of the final days, of Amarat burning, it filled me with sadness to the very pit of my being. Things I once knew, people I once loved, promises I once made, it felt as though long-forgotten memories were dancing at the edges of my mind, but when I tried to focus on them, they simply fade away. Okay, let me catch up with chat a little bit. Butt coins are more worthwhile than bitcoins, in my opinion. No, you would be correct. Speaking of, we just changed the name of our points to Lizzie's, after Mom's dog, who is the emote representing the points. Oh, cool! That's awesome. Also, Ahty, do you recognize the brown-haired boy of this trio? You know what? He looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place him. An effect of having a fractured soul, I shouldn't doubt. But lest you worry, I'm perfectly happy to remain fractured and have no intention of donning an Ascian mask. I just wish we knew what Elidibus was plotting. In Tozu, I'm getting to that playtime question in just a second. I haven't had the opportunity to. Ha! But look at this pair of incurable brooders. If we're going to stand around lost in thought, we may as well do it back in the city. Rest assured, Reen and I will take the children from here. Their heads will be in the clouds after meeting you, but we'll see to it their feet remain firmly planted on the ground. Oh shit. Oh, it's nothing. Just a dizzy spell. Seems I tried a little too hard to beat you. I'm fine now. Not to worry. I'll see you soon. As you ponder Alize's words, you are taken by an urge to revisit the scene of that fateful meeting. Yeah. Alright, let's see. I'm actually curious about what my playtime is like. 18 days, 22 hours, 20 minutes. Here, I'll put that in chat. Here we go. It's surprising? How is it surprising? I'm up to 22 days, 14 hours. That's actually, it shocks me that we're that close. Because I thought you were playing a lot. It feels like you were playing a lot more than me. It feels like you've played more. Well, I mean, since I've been playing since June, right? So that's roughly, and I stream 4 days a week. So that's, well, 12 hours a week, essentially. Total playtime on Skyrim totals up to roughly half a year. Ooh, dang. I need to go up from here. I forget how to get there. I've been playing since 1.0 when it was hot garbage. I've only gone as far as the first dungeon and a couple quests after so far. At this rate, Ahty's gonna be ahead of me because I'm scared to stream it for fear of spoiling it for people. Well, people always have the option to not watch. That's the thing. Like, I'm super fortunate for people to, you know, show up on my stream and watch me do stuff. But, like, I don't want... And truth be told, I don't want to spoil the game for anyone either. That's why I'm kind of trusting that, you know, folks will know to like lurk or something like that if they don't want spoilers. I don't think I'm going the correct way. I've played a lot more than you, Ahty, that's for sure. It's just that with Endwalker, I've really only done very little story-wise. I streamed 2 days of it, but off-stream. I haven't done anything but level all the classes and do crafting and gathering. Okay. How did I get to where I was before? Oh, it's up there, isn't it? I think I know where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, I suppose that's true, Kuroja. But the thing is, I don't know. I mean, you should be able to stream what you want to play. And not everyone in your stream is going to be lurking because they don't want spoilers. There's probably going to be a couple, but I'd hazard a guess that there's going to be an equal amount of people in your stream that want to see the game played than don't want it spoiled. Hobo Hound is actually a really good example of this. Hobo, if I'm not mistaken, wants to play, or at least just admires how pretty the game is. He wants to participate in chat. But I don't know. It's weird. But I totally get what you're saying. What you're saying is completely valid. Here we go.
Was it you who called me here?
What's going on? On behalf of the convocation, I bid you welcome to our order. At times you will stand with us, at times you will stand against us. All that you might steer mankind and the very star upon their true course. For yours is the seat of Elidibus, the emissary, and by this name shall your every action be guided.
So you peered into my memories. No matter. You will have found little of import. But I see you intended to summon me here no more than I intended to come. The fault is mine. Such is the burden of hope.
Give back Ardbert's body.
What fool would relinquish his weapon on the eve of battle? That which I do is no different from that which you have done so many times, Warrior of Darkness.
Hey, cute Ahty. How's your precious soul? I must thank you again for those kind words during my Wakey stream. Arctic, it was all truth. It really was. You know, and as every, you know as well as I do, as well as anybody in the stream, that, like, you know, periodically you're just gonna have doubts that, like, what you're doing is worthwhile, or, like, you know, whether you're just I don't know. With what I'm trying to say, this song is not, this music is not helping. But, like, yeah, you mean back in the day when you followed, I was at a pretty low point. I was pretty low, and I just, yeah, I just felt that, like, that I had to let you know that your follow helped me. And no, I absolutely won't, because, like, you know, no matter what happens, you know, 4 days a week, I'm going to stream at the same time. I'm going to do my best to keep my same schedule all the time. And I hope that, like, you know, all the good beans who are in chat right now, and who follow me, like, I hope that, you know, they come by every now and then, like, to say hello and to lurk and hang out and stuff. Oh, thank you so much for that, Tozu. Yeah, I haven't even really been streaming for, like, 6 months, and, like, or have I? June, July. Actually, just after Christmas would be me I would have been streaming for 6 months. But with that said, like, you know, I've met so many cool people, and, like, I don't know. It just blows me away. Like, why the hell did I put this off for 5 years? God, I'm just getting goosebumps for what is coming next in this set of quests for you, Ahty. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm feeling it. I've been playing 14 for 12 hours straight. I need to take a break. I'll watch stream now. Okay, Tozu. And I just want to give a quick shout out for Arctic here. So I actually had a really good time watching Arctic and Clappy Trappy play Borderlands 3 today. They were carrying on and just having like a really good time, and it just really kept my spirits up the whole heckin' day. Oh heck, thank you so much, Tozu. Thank you so much for that gift sub to Arctic. Gosh, you're all good beans. I'm being loved, help! Deal with it, Arctic. Be appreciated, okay? Thank you so much, Tozu.
I arm myself. I hone my skills. I make ready to vanquish my enemy. You. You who have murdered my brothers, who have taken their selfless labors in service to the one true world and turned them to ash. I see you for what you are. You are death, and only in death shall you serve any purpose. The Convocation charged me to steer mankind and the very star upon their true course. As Elidibus, it is my duty, and I shall see it done. I will strike you down. Destroy you body and soul. All else must wait. Ere long I will come for you, warrior of darkness, and I will save the world. One last matter. I bore witness to your final struggle with Emet-Selch. It seemed as if he saw something familiar in you. As if he mistook you for another.
Hithlodius called me his new old friend.
No, I recall not of whom he spoke. Mayhap I never knew you, or mayhap it is another fragment lost.
Ah, I wasn't aware you already had a guest. If the conversation is constructive, I shall not intrude. But if you seek to stir up trouble, Elidibus, then I must insist you leave at once.
What did he just do?
Though you lack her blessing, your soul is surprisingly dense.
Worry not. I seem to be unharmed. This is my own doing. The consequence of my recent exertions.
Logged out of 14, 3-hour queue if you try logging back in now. Yep. That's about what the queue was for me when I tried to log in at 3.
It is the tower's way of compensating me for the demands I have placed on it. Rest assured, it is no great inconvenience at present. Indeed, I told Beck Lug as much. They would not be persuaded and sent me away to rest. No need to make a fuss. Strange as it may sound, I consider it something of a badge of honor. One of the brave souls who saw me delivered unto the first once said that the world shall ever have a place for tales of heroism so long as we have need of inspiration in our lives.
Yeah, Grahatia, best boy.
Though he and his fellows had no way of knowing whether their mad scheme would amount to anything, they knew that the attempt alone would inspire hope. Or so they hoped. A more optimistic lot one would be hard-pressed to find. They said they would find a means to save our God's forsaken world, just as soon as they had sent me on my way. Said it with such confidence that, for a fleeting moment, I half believed them. Such faith, such courage in the face of unrelenting despair. For a long time, it was more than I could bear to remember them. But having come this far, having sent full many on their way myself, I see things more clearly. To take action is to hope. To believe, to choose to believe, is to take the first step towards a brighter future. And why do I tell you this? Because I want you to indulge me in a little recklessness. Needless to say, I have a plan. And when all is said and done, I will ask yet another favor of you.
You're both here. Oh, thank goodness.
What's wrong?
It's Thancred. He's collapsed.
Oh no. Here we go. This is where it starts. I was wondering when this was going to happen. The fates seem determined not to allow us a quiet moment. But come, let us have the details from Reem. It happened after Alize and I saw the children back to Spadrix. We chanced to meet Thancred there, returning from his mission. He'd been shadowing Elidibus around the realm, only to lose sight of him near the Crystarium. And he was in the middle of telling us where he'd been when he just crumpled to the ground. The Chiurgeons are looking after him now, with Alphino standing by, just in case his healing magics are needed. Since I couldn't do anything to help, I thought it best to find you, and the guard at the Exedra told me where to look. I see. It cannot have been easy leaving Thancred's side. My thanks for bearing word to us. Come, let us hurry to Spadrix. There's an encounter with Graha that still makes me giddy. Ooh. Is it an encounter I've seen before, or is that coming up? Because our first encounter when we said farewell to him at the Crystal Tower back in the Source, that kinda just, that blew me away. Spadrix is a real place IRL. In times long ago, it was a place for alchemists to gather to cure wounded people. Ooh, interesting. I didn't know that. '14 loves its old-timey words. I've learned a lot of interesting words from this game so far. They dragged you here too, did they? My apologies. How do you feel? Embarrassed, but otherwise well enough. I won't be staying overnight. This episode was not the result of any injury I could find. Thancred's ether, however, did show signs of instability, and I did what I could to calm the fluctuations. And all of this happened without warning? Not exactly. Most words are not made up in 14. Most of Scholar's skills are literally just talking to heal people. Interesting. You will doubtless recall the time Euron J nearly drowned and I gallantly went to his rescue? When his water-walking charm failed, he was tired. As were you when you got back. We were both spent, yes, on account of which you begged us to rest, which, in retrospect, may have been a good idea. The fact is, I've been experiencing regular bouts of lightheadedness ever since, but there was no actual fainting until now. So has Alize. Interesting. As Alphino observed, I have no lingering injuries, and it most assuredly isn't old age, which leaves but one likely cause. The link between body and soul has weakened further. Time grows short, we must complete the spirit vessel with all haste. To that end, Ahty, might I trouble you to make a trip to the source? In addition to looking in on our friends' bodies, I would have you consult Kryl about our plan. If she has any concerns, we should at least endeavor to address them prior to proceeding. Fox bed all made, all 3 foxes to surround my pillow, comfy 14 vibes to snooze to. I'll take care, Tozu. Sleep well when you get there, okay? In the meantime, we should get back to laying bare Elidibus's plot. Thus far, I have learned this much, that in each of the places he has visited, there have been sightings of suspicious black-clad strangers. Moreover, the coming of these shady individuals has invariably coincided with some manner of misfortune. Beasts terrorizing settlements, blight ravaging crops, you know, the sort of thing. All of which serves rather conveniently to make Elidibus's call for new heroes reverberate that much more loudly in the hearts of his audience. And you think these black-clad strangers are Ascians? I do, and I full intend to investigate further, though for that I shall require additional feet on the ground. You can count on mine. Gods know I've been itching to get out there for a while. Mayhap Euron J too can be prevailed upon to join your efforts. He has already provided copious guidance on the matter of the spirit vessel's construction. It is for Becklug and I to wrestle with the rest. Well, if you can spare the old boy, we may well make use of him. I'll go and give him the good news. You'll do no such thing. However heedless you are of your own well-being, if you care at all for Rien's feelings, you'll stay in bed until you're needed. Alphino and I will find Euron J. All being well, we will have news to share by the time you return. Safe travels, Ahty. I guess we're going to Mordona. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back here. More donut. And now I can't unsee that. More donuts. Here she is.
Not.
FD Dog, welcome. Ahty, what excellent, I mean awful timing. Huh? You see, our friends. They've taken a turn for the worse. Kryle's hardly had a moment's rest these past few days. She didn't want everyone to worry, so we've been keeping it quiet. Oh, but listen to me. I call myself a receptionist and I haven't even bothered to ask why you're here. So, they think the spirit vessel will be ready soon? And they want to make sure there are no problems at this end. You'd better talk to Kryle. She's with the others in Dawn's Respite. Let's go and see her. Just prepare yourself, alright? What's going on here? Hey, Ahty, I'm headed to bed now. Take care and have a good evening. You too, Zoberin. Sleep well, okay? Thanks for coming by tonight. I love the lighting just now. That was awesome.
Excuse us. This way.
I would rather you hadn't seen this.
I'm sorry. We have urgent tidings.
Oh, no, I'm not angry with you. On the contrary, I know full well how hard everyone has been searching for a way to return home. And I had hoped to afford you the time you needed. But given our friend's present state, perhaps it was for the best that you came. Stiff and cold, all of them, as if they were made of wax. Barely alive at all. And they had been doing so well. Save for occasional signs of etheric instability, they appeared to be in passable health. Then, quite without warning, things took a turn for the worse. A change for which even Master Matoya could offer no explanation. She could only remind me that the soul is yet an unknown frontier, and that much and more lies beyond our ken. But let's not lose heart just yet. At times like these, it is all the more important that we remain positive. Why? I but this moment succeeded in quelling a fluctuation in Thancred's ether. And while the others have weakened, they have remained relatively stable. I believe I may leave my post for a moment. So come, let me hear your tale outside.
All nestled in, time to watch with 300% propensity. Wow. What news from the first? I see. Work on the spirit vessel proceeds apace, but our friends begin to falter. As they themselves have observed, the link between body and soul has weakened. It's as simple as that. For now, I am still able to quell the fluctuations in their ether, but it's only a matter of time. We'll lose them if we don't act soon, so if the Exarch is ready to attempt something, let him attempt it. As for the spirit vessel itself, if we seek to draw upon Allagan wisdom, we could do worse than consult an expert in the field. I think I know just the man. Time being against us, it may be best if I go and solicit his aid in person, even if it does mean leaving my patients. Ahty, could you spare a moment while Kryl goes and finds this expert of hers, I mean? There's a gift I was hoping to send to our friends in the first, you see, and since we might be waiting a while, I wondered if you wouldn't mind giving me a hand with it. My first attempt turned out well, now I'm going to make it properly. I'll be in the kitchen at the House of Splendors. Meet me there. Well, I had better be off too. I shall see you soon, either here or at the house, depending on how our patients fare in my absence. Oh, pets. There we go. Oof, where am I going? I always do that. Oop, there's Cairo. Oh God, I am just the smoothest person today. I am just not used to being here. So smooth. Hiya, Turbid. Welcome. Oh my gosh, look at her little chef hat. Oh, that is like literally the cutest thing I've ever seen. pumpkin! Oh, sorry, Tozu. I know you're trying to relax, but... Unlike Cryle, I can't do much to help our friends directly, but that doesn't mean I've been idle. No, I've been doing my best for the Order, taking on this job and that to keep our coffers full. I've even helped out with the Ishgardian restoration. And in the course of all this, my culinary skills have come on quite a bit. So I thought, why not make something for our friends? It's baking in the oven even as we speak. Shouldn't be long now. There, baked to perfection, even if I do say so myself. Oh, that makes me hungry. Smells great. Doesn't it just? It's called Archon loaf, in case you're wondering, and it's what they eat over in Charlayan. Simple fare, I admit, but I thought it would remind our friends of home. If nothing else, Cryle tells me it's a good source of ether. So it should lend them a bit of strength, at least. There truly is nothing like the smell of bread fresh from the oven. Cryle, and if it isn't Rambros too. I trust you require no introductions either, Ahty. Greetings, my friend. Full glad I am to see you well. I confess, I have a long list of questions to ask you, but I will endeavor to contain my curiosity for the present. I understand our mutual friend is struggling with the application of certain Allagan technologies. I have been keeping Rambros apprised of events in the First. Suffice it to say, he knows about the Exarch. If anyone alive can provide insight into this matter, it is him and his fellow sons. Loath as I am to disappoint you after so glowing an endorsement. Memory transference was the sole province of Allagan royalty, its mechanisms closely guarded secrets. If any record of them remains, we have yet to find it. To wit, I regret that I can offer no solution to your problem. Which begs the question of why I bothered to come here, empty-handed as I am. The answer being, rather brazenly, to ask a favor. I would have you relay a message to our comrade. Tell him that we never doubted him. Never doubted that he would achieve all that he said he would. Those of us who remained behind have yet to play our part. But when the time comes, he may rest easy in the knowledge that we will most assuredly do so. Archon loaf. And then the tower shall shine once more as a beacon of hope in this world and beyond. So tell him that we consider his duty done, and that he should follow his heart now. Forgive me, but do you say this to discourage him from overexerting himself, or to encourage him to hold nothing back? That is for our friend to decide, but either way, I dare say a certain someone will be unimpressed. Well, there you have it, Ahty. If you would be so good as to see Rambros's message to Tatar and Tataru's bread to their intended recipients, along with my report, of course. Cryle? Before I wrap the bread up, would you mind giving it a try, just to make sure everything's as it should be? But of course, I'm always happy to lend my taste buds. Excuse me, Rambros. As a fellow Charlayan, may I trouble you for your opinion? Well, I usually have mine with a good dollop of Rollenberry jam, but I suppose plain is best for sampling purposes. I see. Oh no, is it that bad? It is indeed, Tataru. Dense and unpleasant. Exactly how it should be. Ha ha ha! Just so. The very taste of home. As you might expect, our countrymen have amassed a wealth of culinary wisdom from every corner of the world. But our native cuisine is, shall we say, a little lacking. As Charlene, the majority regard food as a source of nourishment rather than enjoyment. Save for those few who actually research the culinary arts, we pay little heed to the niceties of taste and texture. Stale bread for nerds, yep. Basically croutons. They eat croutons. Ugh, my eyes are itchy. That's a problem with me playing video games for long periods. I forget to blink on occasion, so my eyes just get really dry. It was against such a gastronomic landscape that what is now called the Archon Loaf was born, the creation of an Archon who devoted himself to the study of bodily sustenance. In order to maximize its nutritional value, he incorporated copious quantities of pulverized fish and vegetable matter into the dough, all with nary a care for those qualities which make bread enjoyable. The result is a flavor that continues to defy description. Yet, for its many shortcomings, the loaf's nutritional value cannot be denied. In being a damnably convenient way to cater to one's bodily needs, it quickly found an audience amongst busy scholars. Why, when I was a lad, nigh every meal was a sandwich made with this very bread and whatever ingredients happened to be on hand. It sounds similar to what college students use ramen for, or ramen, excuse me. It's like every meal is a ramen meal. I suspect just about every Archon could say the same. Having been away from home for so long, I thought I might have forgotten the taste, but no, it is all too familiar. Ah, how it takes me back. If there is enough, perhaps you can spare some for the Exarch? He is certain to appreciate it. Thank you so much for the lurk, Jaster. Thank you. And welcome, by the way. Got to level 11 earlier, but now I cannot queue as a... I'm sorry. I hope they let me buy it soon. Yeah, me too. Heck. But at least you were able to play a little bit. Ahty, when you deliver the loaf, please be sure to send everyone my regards. Tell them we're doing everything we can, and that we'll be praying for their safe return until the moment they get back. All right, will do. Thank you so much, Jaster. Cairo. Alright, so now where are we going? Deliver the Archon Loaf to the Crystal Exarch. Alright. Let's go. Back to the Crystarium. I'm gonna hydrate. I haven't hydrated all stream. Ah, that's better. Da-da-da. Hydratos. Yeah, true, Cairo. Very true. So Cairo said in chat, at least traveling to the first doesn't cost a lot. Indeed. Welcome back, my friend. How was your journey? Take your gross crouton bread, Exarch. Also, it's free if you just go from Mordona to the Trench to the Ocular. Yeah, it's probably free, but like, that's... That takes too long. By the 12, Archon Loaf. However did you come by this? I'd swear it had come straight from Charlayan. Rambrose said that, did he? His words are very nearly as heavy as the bread, but I appreciate the sentiment. Should you have the chance, you may tell him that he needn't worry. That which I seek to do, I do of my own volition and with all my heart. In pursuing this path, I fully expect to earn the censure of our friends, and to deserve it, but I shall forge on regardless. Forge on as you yourself did when faced with a similar predicament, so I ask that you have faith in me, and what we do. But we were talking about your journey. Before the others arrive, I would hear how their bodies fare. Oh, and the bread I shall save for later. Though it has been many years, I have not forgotten the feats of mastication required to consume it, nor how unconductive they are to conversation. Time is money, or something like that. Yep. Interesting something I just realized. The architecture of this place on the inside here. Is it familiar? Is it familiar to anybody in the stream? We've been embroiled with recently with examining Ascian architecture from back in the day. And I just noticed it now, the way these arches are shaped, particularly these, the triple ones. That it seems to be similar in that regard. Like they had a hand in it or something like that. And thank you, Tozu. I periodically I throw out little theories, which I have no proof or anything, but just little details I notice here and there. Oh, well, yeah, the Allegans were informed by Ascian, so... Okay, that makes sense.
We have visited every region and confirmed the presence of Ascians throughout the realm.
Good morning, Bunny Cat. Welcome.
Lest a grave predicament be made to seem hopeless, it should be noted that they are of inferior rank. The black-masked minions who answer to the Red.
Yes, a gaggle of schemers attempting to exploit recent events, to sow the seeds of petty conflict. Fortunately, nothing of any great concern has come of their meddling just yet.
We also encountered a number of the Crystarium's former defenders, busily solving this problem and that in a bid to become warriors of light.
Their zeal is to be applauded. It is but a pity I cannot encourage them on their course.
Not knowing Elizabeth set them upon it, no. Both the troubles to be solved and the villains to be vanquished are his doing too, like as not. And so, with apologies to the aspiring warriors of light, I believe it best that we deal with the Assyans quickly and quietly.
I quite agree.
But tell us, what news from the source? How fare our bodies?
Tell them the truth. I'm sorry, but things have taken a turn for the worse.
Oh dear. Then we must redouble our efforts. Not that we've ever stinted in that regard.
This would seem an appropriate moment to ask about the spirit vessel. Tell me you've made some progress.
We have, as it happens. One moment.
The red stones. Then this doth mean...
For the benefit of all, permit us to explain. As you will recall, using white auracite as our starting point, we fashioned a vessel for mind and memory both. Yet, though it served this purpose admirably, the process of imbuing it with one's complete essence proved a somewhat thornier proposition. Simply put, the memory would not accompany the mind. And so, we looked to the Allegans' mastery of memory transference for a solution.
This approach was not without its own complications, however, relying as it does upon blood, which inanimate objects, notably, do not possess. We duly explored methods of suffusing the vessel with drops of the aforementioned. Alas, our painstaking experimentation succeeded only in making me feel faint, and singularly failed to imbue the crystal with the necessary properties. It was then that an idea occurred to me, namely that we might fuse the vessel not with normal blood, but with my crystallized essence.
You're doing this for our sakes. So far be it from us to complain. But don't think we haven't noticed what's happening to your arm.
It falls well short of offering up my life in exchange for yours, which was your only stipulated prohibition, as I recall. And it is but a small price to pay for delivering you home.
So I chiseled off a chunk of myself and hot glued it on there. What? Oh gosh, that's funny, but also kind of dark. A cheese grater comes to mind. Oh no, dude, now I'm getting in on it. Oh, God. And well, look at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Assuming it works.
Should I be concerned? No, it's okay, Paula. Of course it's dark. It's Shadowbringers. Thank you, Bunny Cat. Thank you.
We shall soon know if this grisly addition will serve as a suitable conduit for the subject's memory. Though not soon enough to warrant your waiting. The test is like to take a while.
Let us be off then. We have Ascians to attend to, among other things.
Forgive me, but I count 6 vessels, and there are only 5 of us.
One is for testing purposes. I will personally use it to see whether the crystal functions as it should.
And if it does, wouldn't that mean that your soul could also return to the source?
Yes. In theory, at least. But there is a distinct difference between your circumstances and mine. While your corporeal forms want for souls, my past self does not. Mayhap our essences would blend, or mayhap they would curdle. There is no telling what might occur.
And you'd be willing to take that risk?
I would.
I see.
That's something I'm gonna have to think about for a while. I'm a little confused on how she was feeling there, so yeah, I need to talk to her. I'm sorry. I know it was childish to storm off like that. And probably to feel the way I do as well. Pull yourself together, Alize. When our grandfather first decided to journey to Eorzea, Alize did not take kindly to my silence on the subject. Don't pretend to understand things you don't, she said, or rather shouted. Having oft been the object of her scorn, I am predisposed to sympathize with the Exarch. But I do understand how she feels. Better now than ever I did, certainly. I, for one, support the Exarch's choice. To be alive is to be driven by a purpose, and few are as driven as him. It's stupid, but I've never really stopped to think about what would happen once the vessels were complete, and now. No, there's no point. I hope the test is a success, truly. Hast thou a moment, Ahty? I would speak with thee on the matter of the Exarch's mooted return into the source. Yeah. Here's the thing, it's like, can the First really do without the Exarch? And why would he take that? I don't know. It just seems really brazen, if you ask me. But I think this is what he was referring to earlier. Thou wilt have observed that our friend spake not in certainties. Yet if Becklug hath the right of it, 'tis possible to predict the outcome of his plan with some confidence. Don't mind where I'm at, Ahty, just doing some inventory glamour stuff. I'll be there if you get to a duty. Okay. I don't expect that I'm going to get there tonight. And it is their assessment that, given the opportunity, the Exarch's soul should successfully merge with that of his younger self. Which is not to say the process is without complications, For one, the Exarch hath been subjected to an additional rejoining, an experience which will have wrought a change in his ethereal composition. As though myself didst demonstrate in merging with Ardbert, however, there existeth an affinity twixt like souls, and this doth give us cause to hope. Time to see what login queues are like now, and see what my retainers brought back from their missions that get them to level 70. Hopefully something nice. Yes. Yet there remaineth one immutable condition upon which success doth hinge. The Exarch must needs recognize his past self as simply that, himself. As our recent travails have demonstrated, memories are essential to the soul. Any discrepancy in the former may feasibly cause the latter to spurn its former flesh. Them turning level 69 was nicer. Indeed. I concur. 'Tis a seemingly simple yet complex problem. For nigh on a century our friend hath striven only to deliver this realm, to deliver thee, and to that singular end did he cast aside his very name, that he might assume the mantle of the Crystal Exarch. Henceforth none can say what choices our friend will make, but I thought it only right that thou be made aware of these truths. And it's time to open our goodie bag before we go any further. All right. Ah, now that is a cool outfit. That is heckin' cool. I like it. And the bow goes with it quite well. 748 isn't bad. Oh, wow. That is a good question, Trinity. It has been a long time since I checked. Right then, while the Exarch literally pours his own sweat and blood into his allotted task, it seems only fair that we attend to our own. Dealing with Elidibus and his minions. Just so, and there is one other matter. In light of our deteriorating health, Y'shtola should not be left alone at Anydir. Might I trouble you to visit her, Ahty? To see that all is well? I would go myself, but I think she might be safer in the hands of one less prone to collapsing. I got you, fam. My thanks. You may leave the Ascians to us. Once they are out of the way, we will retire to Yulmore, and when Y'shtola has finished plumbing the depths, I'd like the two of you to join us there. If you are bound for Anydir, I suggest you go via Venmont Yards. Our friends there will be glad to provide a boat for you. Let us be on our way then. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Wait, I have a gift for you from Tataru. From Tataru, you say? Whatever could it be? Archon loaf, thou sayest? Why, even to hear the name doth transport me to times long past. Bread from another world? May I try some? Oh, your funeral. Mayest thou, child? Thou must. That said, though I personally disagree with the consensus, I do nonetheless advise thee to temper thine expectations. Wiser words have never been uttered. Though it rarely darkened our dining table at home, I can attest that it was standard fare at the studium. Indeed, a slice was never far from our peers' hands. Alphino, you really are an unbearable snob sometimes. Do you know that? What I believe my colleagues are trying to say is that we appreciate the gesture. Tell Tataru we'll do our best to return before she's forced to seek further supplementary employment. Right, let's really be off now. We can find a drink to wash down the bread on the way. Tombstones, right. Currency... I have 1710 out of 2000. Oh, Cairo got his hat. Awesome. Go to the lobby here and talk to the person with the blue bag icon. Okay. Ah, I see. Buy yourself a new bow. I like my bow, though. Oop. Almost passed it by. You can glamour it? Okay. That's fair. Augmented Crypt Lurker. Okay. Oh, I'm still occupied. Okay. Though, I don't know, that is a heckin' cool looking bow, though. I really like that one. Nice. And that will last you at least halfway through Endwalker 2. Woo, cool. Very nice. Awesome. Alright, so where are we going now? Idle shipwright in Venmont Yards. Okay, so to right we go. Thank God I was at cap. I needed to. Nice. Very cool. You know what? I need to find some different chocobo barding, actually. Oh, there's my limousine. Can buy barding on the market board and some from Grand Company for seals if your rank is high enough. I think it's high enough. I think I'm max actually, because I can do the little I'm at least at the point where like I can hire people to become part of it. Oh right, Pandemonium is coming with today's patch. I guess login queues will be terrible after, probably. Oh ho, if it ain't the Warrior of Darkness herself, what brings you to these parts? Heading out to sea, eh? But of course we'd be happy to help. Just say the word and I'll ready a boat. Yes. Oh shit.
Excellent. I had intended to speak with you alone. None of my doing, lest you misunderstand. The link between her body and soul wavers.
What the fuck?
I know not what you hoped to find here, but it will avail you naught to learn of our past.
Reviewing the records yet again? Really? You worry too much, Elidibus. I stopped doing GC Grand Company. Okay, I stopped doing Grand Company stuff as soon as it forced me to do PvP. Yeah, if it's forcing me to do PvP, I probably won't do too much more of it. This dedication to your duty verges on obsession. To think some thought you ill-suited for the role. How wrong they were. But come, turn your gaze outside the window, my friend. The rains have ceased, and we have been graced with yet a beautiful day.
It fades. Fades away into oblivion. Does the world no longer have need of me? No. I am Elidibus, and I will fulfill my duty. Sundered though you may be, you fought for the world's salvation. For hope. Hope. Ah, it swells within me, empowers me. Now I may carry out my mission. And yet, why do I yearn for this? Why do I struggle so? I shall take her into my safekeeping. If you want her back, you will do as I ask. Show me your strength. I would take your measure. I have prepared a suitable arena. You need but ride the flow of ether.
Figures this would happen now. Unfortunately, okay. Yeah, I was about to say Trinity. I think that's probably going to be it for me tonight. Simply because I have to work in the morning. I still have a little bit more work to do before I go to sleep, and I still have to eat dinner and all of that stuff. So, let's look for somebody to raid here. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I kind of ran out of time with that. It's been fun, Ahty. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ryu. You're heckin' amazing. I think Tuesday we're gonna start out with this. Well, now I can't because it's during the week. Nope. I'm gonna do my little experiment. At 3 p.m. while I'm still at work, I'm going to remote desktop into my gaming computer. And I'm going to get in the queue, so when I'm on my way home, I'm still queued to play. So I'm hoping that we'll be playing Final Fantasy on Tuesday, but if not, it's going to be more Halo. Do the remote login? Yeah, I'm going to do the remote. We'll see how that works. So does anybody have any suggestions for somebody that we should raid? Because I was kind of thinking that we could raid Sky for tonight. But I'd also welcome some suggestions too. Preferably somebody who's playing something kind of along the same sort of lines as Final Fantasy. Maybe that type of game. Take patch downloading into account. Okay, will do. Actually, I could check out some of my teams too. Oh, Oxford Fictionary is actually somebody who recently followed me. Just give me a second. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Oxford Fictionary, yeah, playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, but also is a part of that Stream Beans stream team that Sky helped create, or created. Yeah, why don't we go that route? How do you all feel about that? The game actually looks really good, actually. Heck yeah, let's go. Alright. Alright, there we go. Excellent. So, again, thank y'all so much for popping in tonight and hanging out and chatting with me. It's been really, really great. And I really love doing this. Y'all really give me life every time I stream. So, like I was saying earlier, the next time I'm going to be streaming is Tuesday at 6. I'm going to do my very best to get into Final Fantasy, being kind of tricksy with remote desktop, but we'll do it. Until then, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to get something to eat and get a little bit more work done. So, have a great night, everybody. Sleep well when you get there. Be safe. You know, wear a mask and all, be vaccinated and stuff like that. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll get to see all of you good beans on Tuesday night. Alrighty. Take care, folks. Have a good one.